Hello everybody, so I'm on, and I thought today we'd do a spooky stream, because we've not done one in a while. We'll definitely do one around Halloween time, but I thought it'd just be a good idea to do one, of creepy stories and all that sort of thing, just because I know people like these streams and we do the theme sort of spooky ones, but we don't do them all that often generally. So yeah, spooky stream, I put a scary, not really red light in the NATO torch. But yeah, my filter pack arrived for it today because I bought a separate filter pack. And funnily, although it's like the NATO standard size, it's obviously not an American one. This is an English one, which is quite funny. So I assume they'd screw together completely fine. Let's just give it a test. But I've put all the filters now in this one's base. So, it's not Halloween yet, planes. It is soon. Yeah, we'll have a spooky stream for spooky people. Right, that bit doesn't film. Does this base cap film? There's a white one in there as well, but I assume that's just like literally a bit of card because I can't see the point of this as a filter because it's not going to it's not going to filter anything, is it? That it's just literally blanks light out. But yes, can I screw this on? Because it should be like a NATO thing, shouldn't it? Where they yeah, it does screw on. I think if I get it flush. Nope. Oh, there goes that bit. So will this screw together or not? That's the question. I don't think it wants to, even though they look like they're meant to be the same size. Spooky says, can you stop saying my name? No. How is everybody anyway? But yeah. I'll put the scary red filter back on in a second. Ooh. Yeah, I assume that most of this would be the same sort of screw size as the other ones, but yeah, it's a bit odd, but never mind. Yeah, because that one screws on there, look. So that's interesting. So the American, I know we're getting off topic of the stream already. The American base cap for the screw fits on the English ones, but the English ones don't fit on the American one. Oh shit, dropping all the filters. So yeah, I've got a complete filter set now. Red, green, and blue. So there we go. So I've got 2 red filters now, obviously. I don't think it would make it more red if I put 2 red filters on. It's not Halloween yet, but yeah, happy Halloween when it is Halloween. Yeah, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. That's all right, Rob. They're cool, aren't they? Is it turned up yours yet, or are you waiting for it to arrive? But yeah, they're cool things, aren't they? But yeah, so you can do ghost stories and all that or whatever. Yeah, that's the one. It was between £20 and £30 if I remember right, Joshua, like mid-20s, I think. All right, Alexei. But with these, you can get them in different, like different types of different prices. So if you wanted one that's like a bit more beat up, you can get them cheaper. But this one was still in its like packaging. Yeah, I've got the filter bit reattached now, just so it's easier to put the filters in without having to take the main bit off. But yeah. I wouldn't use an S10 for airsoft, Mackenzie, but if you want to. I don't know if that's actually proper signaling. I don't mind telling you a creepy story. I've told some of these before, but I don't mind re-going over them. But people in the comments can feel free to say stuff as well. Up to you, Coltrane, if it's for Halloween, like something that goes over gas mask, like a creepy miner sort of outfit or something. This one, Daniel, I don't know if it has a date on it. MX991U. But these were the ones that were made throughout the Cold War. I guess this is a slightly later one as it's a plasticky one. But they're like metal versions of these as well. But it's the one that they, had for ages. But anyway, so a creepy one I think I've told before, but I'll tell it again just because it's a weird thing. There's one story I won't tell because it's the one I'm sending to Mike for his ghost story video. But when I was a lot younger, there was a bit near one of my friends' houses, right? It was like a drainage ditch. I'm trying to think what the proper word is for them, but like where they're designed so if you get flooding, these fill up before, people's houses start flooding. Yeah, a plague doctor's thing would work quite well. Yeah. I suppose there is currently a plague, isn't there, in a sense? But yeah. Anyway, so we were basically at these sort of yeah, a bit like a manhole, but not a sewer type thing. But it was kind of like a sewer, you know, like your houses wouldn't go into it. Like it wasn't for yeah, he was incorrect, Eltrix. He didn't do anything right. I didn't do anything wrong. You're right, Eltrix. But yeah. So yeah, the anyway, so it's not like one for sewage, but it was like one for drain overflow. So it's basically a bit like a storm drain, I guess you'd call it. But it's not like one of those American, you know, big concrete storm drains. It's just kind of like one where, you know, the earth's been cut up, you know, to put stuff there. So it's kind of like where it gets quite rural because people's gardens can part the place back onto this place, you know. And then you walk down there, and then, you know, as you're going down there, it gets more and more remote, you know, and further away from the houses. And then it gets, you know, into like a bit of woods and whatever else. It could be. I've not seen the new it. I've seen the old Tim Curry one. Hey George, you want a balloon? But, you know, I've not seen the yeah, like a dried out river, Thomas. That's the easiest way of thinking about it. But it's more like a man-made one. But yeah, that's the easiest way of thinking about it. Like a man-made sort of little river that's dried up. Yeah, that's the easiest way of thinking about it. Because when we went down there, it wasn't dried up. So what we ended up doing was walking down there, and we kept hearing like footsteps. Culvert Tactical says, let me Google that and see if that's the correct term, because it'll be useful. That is. Yes, thank you, Tactical. That's exactly it. Yeah, a culvert. Yep, that's it. It was literally like a storm culvert, you know, so if there was flooding, it wouldn't flood people's houses. Yep, you win a prize of nothing, I'm afraid, Tactical Pirate, but that's what it is, a culvert then, basically. So we were going down there, you know, getting away from the houses, and I think this is why we're out at the site of the houses. We kept hearing like footsteps behind us. This was in the day and that. I think it was evening, so it was getting dark, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't dark enough you couldn't see. So we ended up getting like footsteps, like, you know, like, so you'd hear leaves crunching. So I think it was autumny sort of time anyway, you know, so there was like lots of leaves on the floor there and all the branches and that, so you could hear footsteps quite easily. You know, you'd hear some footsteps, you turn around, you wouldn't see anything, you know, and you'd wait just to hear it be silent. You'd start walking again, then sort of 20 seconds later, you know, or a minute later, we'd start hearing footsteps again. So, you know, that was sort of weirding us out a bit, but that wasn't too creepy. Then there was like I don't know if it was a substation, but you know when you get like the little bits of either like telephone junction boxes or you know, the bits where they put like a chain link fence on to stop people getting in there. But it was like one of those sort of boxes. I can't remember if it was a substation, you know, like a little water station thing. It wasn't very big. It was just one of those things you couldn't get into that was fence off. So we got to see what that. Oh, it's some weirdo, right? So yeah. Anyway, there's we were walking down there, so we passed this metal bit, you know, and then we were about probably 100 yards or so away from this fence, and then it suddenly sounded like somebody was hitting the fence, you know, with a stick. You know, you could hear the chain link fence rattling. So again, turned around, you know, nothing there. So that was twice we'd, you know, been hearing footsteps for a bit that would stop, footsteps for a bit that would stop, and then chain link fence. We weren't very old when this happened, maybe like 10 or so. So then we carried on down the culvert. So thank you, Tactical Pirate. And there was one of those like little, you know, plasticky pipe things that went under kind of some earth. I don't know how, you know, far that went, but we were sort of saying, should we go through it or not? And I think we were getting a bit scared because we heard, you know, like the noises behind us. And we, you know, like thought if we get stuck in there and there's like some sort of psycho following us, that's pretty creepy. Wouldn't end well. So we turned around at that point, and again, nobody there, right? But you know, we're walking back, and then again we start hearing footsteps, you know, and we're looking all around, and we can't see anywhere somebody could be hiding, but you keep hearing you know, keep hearing footsteps, but didn't spot anything. And then, you know, just to finish it off to make it a bit creepy, we had to like, there was like almost like a mini cyclone thing where a lot of the leaves started picking up and swirling around like that. But yeah, that was it for that story. I said no monster jumped out and went boo or anything. But it is weird if you're ever like alone in the woods or somewhere and you hear like footsteps behind you and you keep trying to find who's doing it in it. That's all right. Thanks for trying to do the merch thing, mate. But it doesn't. Yeah, Mike's got on his, but it's not on these. Is that Al Ryan who's on at the moment? If it is, I've remembered his name. But yeah, I love that. The one I like is that Frankie Boyle one where he says the Queen so old her pussy must be haunted. Yeah, it's been all right, Sheep Strangler. Although I've been a bit ill today. It's been a bit weird. It's been one of those days where I was doing a load of jobs for people, and I was doing some silicone adhesive on my granddad's roof, and the fumes from it made me really lightheaded and like feeling sick, and sort of gave me a headache for hours. Could have been Flazzy, but I don't think they'd have had one around us. But you know. Right, I'll read Joshua's out because it's relevant to the stream, so thank you, Joshua. One time my aunt was in a rental house and my cousin said, "What's that noise?" and all the lights on the chandelier burst and then it fell almost landing on my aunt. By the way, this is in the 80s. Yeah, I hope she was all right, but yeah, that's creepy and stuff like that's happened. I've had really weird ones where, like that, where my grandma died when I was in primary school. I can't remember exactly when she died, but we were having a get-together on the anniversary of her birthday, like a year later or so, with a lot of the family. And this could be obviously a completely random thing, but apparently my aunt was saying that like earlier in the day, the radio in her room, because when she died, they hadn't emptied the room straight away, obviously, like all the furniture and that was still in there. So it was set up, still as her bedroom kind of thing. And the radio apparently kept just turning on that day, and it never did it, on other days. But on the anniversary of her birthday, the radio just kept turning on a couple of times. So there was that one. And then when one of my cousins touched a glass later on, it just literally exploded. And I've never seen them do that. Like if you threw it really hard, I could understand that happening, but not, if somebody was, I didn't see which one it was. That's all right, Peach. Don't worry about it. I'd say I do WT Oasis just in the sense that I've had a few weird experiences I can't explain. But, I can completely understand why a lot of people don't believe in them. But the thing is, I also think, there might be like a scientific explanation we don't have for it yet. Yeah, my birthday's next week, Henry. I don't know if I'll be on my birthday. Hopefully I will be. I might do a members stream on my birthday. Yeah, like saying I've got a few creepy stories that aren't paranormal with like weird people out in the woods and stuff like that. That maybe the best thing is they might have been doggers, but they could just be very, very strange, sketchy people. Yeah, that's the thing. Ultimatum, like I was saying, if it was on any other day, I wouldn't have thought as much of it. It was just because a couple of weird things apparently all happened on that day. We're gonna definitely do a collaborative stream with Duke and Botstowo, however his name's pronounced, at some point. I think Duke's waiting to get a good webcam at the moment. I think he's ordering one, and then when that turns up, but I've got StreamYard installed now. So if Mike's on at any point and Mike wants to do a stream with both of us on, I should be able to do that because I've got StreamYard installed and linked to my YouTube now. 27 Alex Saint. Yep. Oh, that was a weird bloke. Yeah, Thomas. I don't know if that was the same bloke in the field as was the sketchy bloke sitting sort of randomly on a bench, just, staring off into space in the middle of the night. Today, Ultimatum, I'll be streaming for an hour, I think, because this should be a good stream, I reckon. Yeah, cheers, WT Oasis. But yeah, if you can join up at Christmas, that'd be good fun. But yeah. Well, at the moment, TXE Game, we're not really on the news about this one. We're just talking about creepy shit, Yeah, so the comment says in Islam we believe in jinn and angels and shaitan and hin and bin and kim and din and min. Right? Sorry if I'm horribly pronouncing that, but I know about jinn. Jinn are like evil genies, aren't they, or like tricksters? Because I know there's like the thing, isn't there, like of the real sort of jinn story, well, real jinn stories, because it's like obviously not everybody's going to believe it, but aren't they like? It's not like a good free wishes you get from the jinn, it's like they're meant to be like kind of bad ones, aren't they? Like a monkey's paw kind of thing. Yeah, I did Sheep Strangler. I watched episode 4, 5, 6 yesterday, so I've just got episode 7 and 8 to watch now. So, if I remember right, I think the last 2 episodes are really good. Because I think the first few episodes are really good, and then I found like the middle of the series when I was rewatching it wasn't quite as good, like whether it were up like episode 5 or 6 or whatever, I felt they dragged a little bit, just because it seemed like a lot of the stuff in them could have been condensed into like one episode. But then if I remember, I think the last 2 episodes are really good, if I remember right, when everything sort of starts paying off. They are just bad straightforward, are they? Is it Al Ryan? I missed if you said earlier if it was Al Ryan. But yeah. So it's not like the genie with the magic lamp. Then it's like in the actual stuff they're meant to be bad. I think there's meant to be quite a lot of things in like mythology, aren't there, like that, where like in films and that they're made a lot more kid friendly, but they're meant to be like quite nasty in reality. Like fairies and a lot of things like that. I think I don't really believe in fairies, but I thought that was the thing Slingshot Warrior kept going on about, like the Fae, how they're actually like they do evil things, but. Oh, which one, Snorky? Because are you on about the one that I saw in the night vision video when I just kind of accidentally bumped into him because I hadn't spotted him with the night vision because it wasn't bright enough? Or there's also a creepy picture. Now, I don't... Yeah, it's in one of my videos. If you search if you search Strictarn test on my video... Oh, Fae are good spirits, are they? Right, I'm confused now. Tactical pirate, but so it's like a temptation thing, is it? So it's basically like saying betray your god to Yeah, I've heard good things about it, Axton. So thank you for your donation, I appreciate it. But yeah, I've heard good things about it. Some of my mates, I think, have bought it. You don't need VR to play it, do you? Like, it's VR compatible, but I don't think you need VR to play it, do you? Because like I said, I do actually have VR, and I definitely try it with the Rift on, but I don't really like games where you have to have the headset on and the motion controllers and all that bollocks. Sorry, I just knocked my ROC picture off. That wasn't a ghost, that was me knocking it off with the Rift when I put it back. Right, so it's VR compatible, but you don't need VR. Excellent, that's exactly what I want to hear. That's like the best option for a game, isn't it? You can play it without VR, but you can also play it with VR, rather than it being one or the other. But yeah, I actually need to set the Rift up with this PC. Weirdly, I've not done it yet. I've had this PC over a year now. It should easily be able to run basically any Rift game on max settings, no issue. And I've not plugged the Rift into it yet. Oh dear. That's interesting, Shed on Fire. So it's like one of those things, Tactical, is it, where like there's the original pagan thing and then Christianity sort of incorporated it and then sort of bastardized it. Is it that sort of thing? But I know there's like quite a lot of things, aren't there, with religions that do that, where they basically pick up some of the things that people, discussed or, believed in and then sort of incorporated them or changed them slightly. All right. I get you, Tactical. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. Was it true, Flazzy, that before Coca-Cola, Santa didn't wear red? Was that a thing like the Coca-Cola made him wear red, or is that just like a misconception? That sounds cool, Alex. So if you're walking around in the dark, enjoy the spooky stuff. But yeah, sorry, if I got distracted from what I was saying, there's a video I did of Strictarn tests, right, where there's loads of photos of me in different places that my dad was taking the photos, when we went on a walk somewhere on holiday. So there's like, things with like me in a canal sort of place and then in like a sandy sort of place near a beach. I think it's somewhere in Norfolk. But the creepy thing was somebody pointed out, and I hadn't even noticed it at the time, there's like a random guy just standing in one of the pictures, just like staring at the camera. Just the filter pack that I've put in here for the thing. So I've got all the color filters for it now because this didn't come with a green one. Although, funnily enough, so this one had the red and the blue filter in, right? The British one had a red and a green filter. So I don't think the British one had a blue filter. It was a red and green one. So yeah, it's kind of weird that. But I should hopefully Sheep Strangler. So where did you get up to, Marcus? Did you get up to the bit of the saw? No spoilers for people who haven't seen Terrifier, but you'll know what I mean by the hacksaw, won't you, if you've seen it? It's just in the scent shed on fire that basically we didn't notice anyone when we were there, and then when we were just looking back for the pictures, somebody pointed out in the YouTube video there's like a guy just staring directly at the camera, just kind of there. No, I don't. Please tell us the Nordic Christmas stories if they fit into a comment. Sorry if I'm missing comments. The chat's going quite quickly. But yeah, Scott, the thing is, like, obviously I feel quite bad for some homeless people because obviously they might have had a really shit experience and then, they've been made homeless by it. But yeah, you can get some crazy sort of fucking addicts, can't you? That are sometimes like homeless people, or living really rough that you might come across, in the wrong sort of place. Russian Rooster said, once I went into my room and I heard heavy breathing coming from somewhere. I was terrified, but I searched under my bed and I opened my closet. It went away. Yes, Marcus, that part. Did you get to it? Yeah, that's the type, Henry. These were just basically NATO right-angle torches, because here's the filter pack from where I took the filters out from a British one, but this is my American one. So, and the filters fit in both of them because the filters the exact same size. I'd say yes, Kaiser, but like not really seriously. Just that I think the messages of Jesus were quite nice, and I'd like to think there's more than just death, But I'm not somebody who ever tries to force anything on anybody, A load of my friends are atheists, some are agnostics, some are different religions, Doesn't bother me as long as people are nice to each other. Scott says, I'm sympathetic to them, but at the same time, a lot of them do bad things and make others' lives a lot worse. Yeah, the thing is, when I used to go to work in the city and I had to wear a stab vest because there were some fucking crazy homeless people there, and like drug addicts and that, you did, there was one or two homeless people that were really nice. I'd chat to them if they were, just stood around, because some of them are quite lonely, aren't they? Because they don't have anybody to talk to. And some of them obviously have ended up on the streets, not really through any fault of their own, just from like, maybe coming out of an abusive household or, getting into debt somehow and then losing everything. But yeah, let's Fuzzy says he kicked the ball with his little cousin and he asked if the boy over there could play and pointed over to an empty corner room. That's pretty creepy, isn't it, in a way? Or like when you see an animal that looks like a dog or cat, looks like they're staring at something in the house and there's like nothing there. That's a bit creepy, Joshua, isn't it? Yeah, that's sad, Scott. But yeah, because there was one. This is going away from the spooky stuff, but there was one bloke who would always be reading philosophy books, right, on a public bench. One of them, and this is when I used to work in Argos. And if he ever came in, he was really polite, and he just wanted to have a conversation with you. When he came in, never asked for money and all that. The thing is, people like him would happily give a $5 or $2, if they were desperate for it, for a hot drink or something, because people like that. They're not coming, they're not coming up in your face demanding money and getting really rude and angry. I'll read Alex Saint's thing. He said pedos are the strangest people when it comes to horror type stories. I think pedos are just horrible people, full stop, aren't they? Anybody that abuses a kid deserves to be shot, in all honesty. There are some things where I can be quite forgiving of a crime, but I think child abuse is just one of those things which makes me go, no, shoot them. Oh, yeah, TXC Gaming. As you know, I've been doxxed and had the police called on me and all that for no reason because somebody doesn't like my videos. Right, Thomas. But yeah, if I've missed any spooky stories or whatever, people just repeat them in the comments. But because obviously sometimes I'm missing because the chat's going too fast. Yeah, that's the thing. There's not much horror I can ever watch now that I actually find creepy. Like stuff that scared me as a kid doesn't scare me now. But there is kind of like adult fear horrors, I think, that you wouldn't find scary as a kid, but get worse as you get older. Yeah, that's definitely one thing. Tactical. You think, how did he get that or afford that? Yeah, I don't imagine. Sadly, this is the world, and trying to get me swatted. Where thankfully the cop that turned up was just very polite, didn't even have his stab vest on, and just wanted to ask me a couple of questions about my radioactive materials and my Geiger counters, and it was like, all right, have a good day. And I haven't had the police come over since, so obviously I'm not doing anything wrong. Well, in World War II, Marcus, like Unit 731 type stuff? No, if I grow one stereotypical drummer, it always ends up being like a little bit of a goatee, and I don't like doing it because I have to do the mask videos, and then the mask won't fit me properly. What, Thomas, isn't there one Medal of Honor game, though, that actually kind of has a horror level in it because it's set in that castle where the SS did all the weird rituals, and there's like the knights or something that attack you. You know, so you see suits of armor and then some of them come to life and attack you. Was that a Medal of Honor game? But I know there was definitely a World War II game that had like a creepy random horror level in it. No, it wasn't Wolfenstein. I've played all the Wolfensteins. It wasn't Wolfenstein. It was definitely like a Medal of Honor. Let me Google this now. Medal of Honor castle level. Let's see. Dark Valhalla. Is it this one? Dark Valhalla is the second level of the Wilsburg Dark Camelot mission in Medal of Honor Underground. There you go. And yeah, the enemies are knights as well as regular SS soldiers. So there you go. I'll link to this. So yeah, there are knights with swastika shields that run at you from the dark. But I know that's like one mission apparently that freaked loads of people out because, you know, it's not what you're expecting playing a game like Medal of Honor, is it? But there you go. Oh, somebody spamming the chat. All right, Rajiv, if I didn't say hello, I'm not sure if I did. Are you gonna, if you get a Pasca, you're gonna put a camo cover on it, or are you just gonna have it as the cover itself? Not cover itself, you know, as the helmet itself. Yeah, there needs to be way more World War One horror GZs because loads of people do like World War Two Nazi zombie shit, don't they? I mean, some of those films can be good, but there's a couple of good World War One horrors. There's what's the one called which has the kid in that played Billy Elliot? Is it Death Trench or something like that? Where there's like all the barbed wire kind of things, and it's also got what's his name in it? Andy Serkis is in that one, I think, if I remember right. That's quite good, but I haven't watched that in ages. Death Watch, thank you, Jesus. That's Death Watch. There's also one I quite like that was fairly recent, called something like Trench 17, which is about kind of like weird zombie experiments being done by the Germans, and it's about like these people that have to go investigate, you know, and then they're kind of wondering why the Germans have been killing each other in their own trench. I think I played that Snoz back in the day, and I think I did quite like it. It's a bit like, isn't it, if I'm not getting it completely wrong, it's a bit like, what's that one? Not necessarily in terms of gameplay, but it reminded me a bit of, is it Condemned Criminal Origins, the one where it's like first person, but you don't really get guns in it, so you're having to like beat the enemies up with pipes and like using a taser, and there's like the people dressed as mannequins and all that. Let me look that one up, Axton. I know there was one I was watching somebody do a gameplay video of that was kind of like Resident Evil, but from a top-down camera angle. Let's see. Okay, so that's not the one I'm thinking of. What's the World War One horror game called? Let me look it up, because that was quite cool. World War One. I've not played it, but I watched a video of somebody playing it. But it was... I'll have to find the name of it because it looks like quite a good game. But Conscript. Conscript is a World War One survival horror inspired by old school Resident Evil and Silent Hill. So yeah, look up Conscript. I don't know if it's out, but I'd probably get that at some point. Thomas said he saw an interesting game that was like horrors of war sort of thing called Fall, I think, where you are on a boat after the war and you see your dead soldiers after leading a charge at the Somme. I haven't heard of that one. Well, we're not going to do a podcast, Russian Rooster, but we are going to do a stream at one point when Duke's got all his stuff set up, if you didn't hear earlier. So that should be quite good fun, because I think part of the idea of it is just kind of, you know, showing people that most of the, you know, gas mask people get on now, you know, and it's only just because of a few sad people that there was all the rifts in the things, you know. Yeah, there's been a couple, hasn't there, Alex, saying that have come close to Earth, but I don't think any that have come really dangerously close, but, you know, close enough that you could see them fly past. And by the way, if I'm missing comments, just repeat them, as said, because this chat's getting quite busy, 77 people in it. Snorky said, Pathologic 2 is a lovely game for anyone interested in playing something new and a little spooky. It's about a theatrical plague. I've played the original Pathologic. I didn't get very far in it, but I do know Pathologic. That's Russian, isn't it, Pathologic? What was Blue and Andes agreeing with me on? Because he said exactly, but. Chessburster said Shutter Japanese version was creepy as soon as he finds out where the ghost is sitting. Is that one about a camera or something? I've seen, I think it was a Thai film about like somebody who sees ghosts when they develop stuff, and that was quite a good horror film. Blue says, have ever heard of Let It Die, the video game? Let me look it up. Let It Die video game. No, I don't think I have actually seen this one. So is that sort of a horror type game? No, I've never played that. I've got Resistance Fallen Man on the PS3. I don't know if I ever finished it. I might have done, but it was years ago I played it. There is a trailer I've seen for Chernobyl Liquidator Simulator, Chiri, but unfortunately it looked like one of those ones where the company just churns out hundreds of simulator games, like Car Mechanic Simulator, Farming Simulator, and I don't mean like necessarily the well-done simulators, just like, oh, let's think of something and stick the word simulator on it. Oh, thank you for joining, Axton, because, yeah, for $1.99 a month, you do get access to quite a few things, and I'll just shield the members thing now because somebody else has joined up. You get access now and again to exclusive streams and videos. You can also go back and watch all of them, I believe, when you join as a member. They were done beforehand. Yeah, the nice thing about the member streams, as Flazzy says, less people on, so the chat doesn't move too fast, so we can have more in-depth conversations about stuff. But this one's actually staying to topic quite well. Justin Vapor said, some years ago I was riding at night on a motorbike. I was following another motorbike. I think I could see the headlight beam in my mirrors when I looked behind nothing. I've had a few creepy kind of ghost car experiences on the road, that could be something completely, benign. It could literally be a car that's, been behind you for a few miles, suddenly just stops, when you're coming to a bend. And then you don't see it in your mirror. But I've had a few things, I've been looking in my rear view mirror and there's been a car there for a while. And then you look and there's not been any exits and the car's just gone. You're like, what? Axton, that wouldn't bother me in all honesty. I'm not furry myself, but, doesn't really bother me. As long as it doesn't start getting into the weird kind of like fan porn stage. Cheers, Chris from HR. Yeah. I'll do a member stream tomorrow, actually. I don't know at what time yet. Hopefully the evening. Yeah, I've never had sleep paralysis, Rajiv, but I know people that, have had it and said they've seen really scary stuff or just, woken up in a complete panic and can't move. What I can do, Snorky, is I'll try and put the time I'm going to do them on Discord, if that helps. So, they're normally about 8 p.m. though when I do my normal streams in the UK. But all right, I hope that goes all good for you, Shed on Fire. Look, the problem with my birthday, it's going to depend what happens with corona restrictions, depending on like how many people I can see and can we do anything all that fun. But yeah, I've never seen like a witch sitting on me or whatever, because like I said, I've never had sleep paralysis, and I generally fall asleep facing the wall anyway. So if I woke up and couldn't move, unless I thought I could hear something creepy, I'd just be like, oh, I'm stuck looking at the wall. The thing, I'm not really scared of ghosts, in all honesty. But the thing is with ghosts is it's just an interesting thing, isn't it? I find it interesting more than anything else. But, it's just more, I suppose, when you see something that you're not expecting. No, I'm not going to be in a bar for it. My plan was more likely to go bowling with some friends, in all honesty. At least for part of the day, if that's open, because I don't know by then are they going to close bowling alleys? Yeah, that's creepy, Justin Vapor. There's apparently a lot of stories, aren't there, on roads? But I suppose it makes sense how many people die in car crashes, and, like bike accidents and whatever else. That roads would be haunted, but it's not one of those things a lot of people think of, is it, when they think of ghosts? Ah, cool. Where did you find that, Joe? But weirdly, my Brody helmet is in this room somewhere. So, one of my Brody helmets. I've got another one. You can swap the liners between them. But, yeah. Yes, I have, Christopher. I thought you've asked me that before, haven't you? But sadly, it was before I did the YouTube videos. Otherwise, I would have filmed it for sure and done a video on it. But oh, so it's in an actual antique shop. I wondered if you meant you found one just like, on the road or something. The Z56 Russian Rooster. Trying to, off the top of my head, I can't remember. It might have been about £40 or euros. There's a lot of interesting things to do with ghosts to do with quantum physics, isn't there? Like all the kind of really theoretical physics kind of things where the idea of ghosts could be that it's like dimensions merging or like time is kind of stuttering or something. Right. If I know correctly, Blue Hernandez, and I might be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, is the Skinwalker the one that's meant to imitate people and it's kind of like a weird deer man monster thing? Is that the Skinwalker? And Wendigos is a Native American thing, isn't it? Skinwalker might be as well, but I don't actually know really much about the Wendigo, other than it probably is not something you want to run into in the woods, is it? But yeah, there's a lot of very interesting theoretical physics stuff, where you kind of think how much of this could just be because there's kind of problems with our understanding of the world. Now, I've never seen a Shadow Man in sleep paralysis, Punisher, but I think I've covered it in a video before. When I was a lot younger, I looked in a mirror and there was like a black figure behind me. And I don't mean like somebody with black skin. I mean literally like, an opaque kind of humanoid shape, but just completely black. Like how people say shadow people look in all the drawings. He was like there for 2 seconds and he vanished, Okay, thank you, Axton, for explaining that. Years ago, Rajiv, when it came out, not recently. Is it on Prime or something? Because I might check that out at some point. But I'm more in the mood for watching horror films at the moment, We're coming up to Halloween. So the Skinwalker is the mad shaman and the Wendigo is the native resorting to cannibals and eating too much. Okay. Thank you, Christopher. I wouldn't say I'm the best one ever for World War II stuff, but if you enjoy the videos, all the power to you. But yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I've got a story that I can remember from my childhood that I'm going to send to Mike for his Halloween thing. That's Weapon Collector. Because it's quite an interesting one. It's a weird one, but I can still thoroughly remember it. Because it was, like when you have, now and again, you have kind of weird experiences, but they're so weird you remember them. Yeah, a house with chicken legs, Baba Yaga, yeah, the old witch. Speaking of Russian games, there was a Russian game, I think it might have even been from the developers of Pathologic. It's the one, what's it called? It's the one where like you're the guy in the house and you walk left and right and you have to avoid being scared. No, I cannot kiss you for £2. I think you want another sort of website for something like that. Right, Thomas? That's an incredibly good price for it, Tyrek. I've never had any jump scares in the house other than like somebody walking out on, walking into you by accident who you didn't know was in a room or whatever. Probably give you a good shot, Flazzy. I don't know what powers Baba Yaga actually has. Yeah, so that's an amazingly good price, isn't it, Tyrek, at the moment, considering how silly FM12s have gone in price. Yeah, I think, Joe, if you have a heavy helmet on for too long, it can be a pain in the neck, quite literally. I think she's meant to eat them, Ultimatum, if I remember right. Like, sacrifice them or eat them or something. Like, typical witch stuff. If you need to pay people to give you... I won't hide him properly, Mark, because he might have been trying to say something but didn't say it quite right. because normally he comes on these streams and he's always really polite. So I'll let him off because he might have been just trying to say something. Just spooky stuff in general, Miss Valadez. So like creepy experiences, paranormal experiences. You know, it could just be even if it's like a real one with like a person. You know. Oh, cool, Chris. Yeah, it sounds good if you spot. I haven't got Netflix. I've got Amazon Prime, but I haven't got Netflix. I've got Shudder as well, which is pretty good for horror. Disc Disease. I don't know what that is. I like the original Star Wars trilogy. The newer ones not so much. I liked Rogue One actually, but that's not really on the spooky stream, is it? But I don't play Roblox, but you've made two weird comments now. Like I already said to Henry, I already said to Marcus, I think he might have been trying to say something that he wasn't getting across properly. Because he's never caused a problem before. So I've unhidden him. But yeah, I don't know what he's trying to say about dicks in Spain or whatever. Yeah, exactly. I suppose it also depends because it's different for different people, isn't it? Because like I said, when I had a load of ghost encounters at work or whatever the fuck it was, when I used to work at the Argos, that was, you know, like at the time you were more interested in it, you know. Like there's bits thinking back when you can sometimes think it's creepy. But at the time, I'm more like, wow, this is cool. You know, you don't normally see stuff like this. Argos Radiac Maniac is a chain of stores in the UK. I think they've closed loads of them now due to Corona and other stuff. But basically, it was a really good idea until Amazon came along. But basically, it's kind of like having Amazon as a retail store. So you go in, there's a catalog and like a browser system you can use. You pick a product. If they've got it in stock in the warehouse, you can literally buy it and they bring it out to you. But yeah, it was one of those things that, you know, they stopped doing as well when Amazon got bigger and bigger because, you know, you could literally buy everything on Amazon for less money. But Argos, like I said, I'm very mixed feelings from working for Argos for years. Some of the managers I had were really good. Some of them were awful. You know, some of the people I worked with were really nice. Some of them were awful. You know, it was one of those kind of jobs where depending on who you were working with, you know, you could have a really good day or a really shit day, you know. But yeah, but if you've not seen it, Radiac Maniac, I did a video ages ago talking about the ghost stories I had from there. But because the one I used to work in was in a really old kind of basement bit for the, you know, stock room, you'd be down there all alone all day, and you'd hear like, you know, footsteps, even though the doors hadn't been opened and nobody had been down there, you know. Yeah, this will sound really boring, Flazzy, but before we had the internet and I was a little kid, and when I'd read all my books, you know, and didn't have anything to do, I would sometimes look through the Argos catalogue just to avoid being bored. Yeah, Philip, especially if you get like managers that let you stand up or help you stand up to like dick customers, because you know we had like customer you know, I think we had a manager like once or twice there that, you know, if one like the black members of staff got racially abused by a customer, they'd be like, oh, you just have to put up with it, you know. Like, oh, the customer's always right, even if they're literally abusing the members of staff. You know, well, obviously a good manager would be literally like, no, you get the fuck out of the shop now. That's why I did. That's why I really liked actually working in the warehouse bit though, because you didn't have to put up with customers for the most part. You know, you were just literally picking people's items and sending them up the conveyor belt. If somebody shot children for no reason, Henry, then they obviously deserve the death sentence, don't they, for that? Sometimes TXE Gaming, have you seen Weapon Collector's videos on the old catalogues? That's really interesting when he does the catalogue nostalgia videos and he looks at like catalogues from years and years gone by, you know, and like what was available in the catalogues and the prices. I don't think Argos sold Geiger counters Radiac Maniac, and I don't work there anymore. The problem I had, Philip, with the hours at Argos was they kept doing the thing of eventually wasn't on the 0 hours contract, but essentially I was when I first started. I think it's like a 3 hour contract, but it was essentially like you were only guaranteed 3 hours a week, which was not really good enough. But what the problem I'd have though was that I kept getting really, really annoying hours where I might be doing delivery at sort of 6 in the morning one day, and then the next day they'd want me in, on an evening, and then back to delivery the next day, so messing up my sleeping times a lot. Probably have to be somebody who has access to a 300 Win Mag though, Flazzy, unfortunately. But yeah, the main issue I had towards the end, which was one of the main reasons I left, was just because they were putting me on shifts where I couldn't get a bus home easily. Oh, right, Radiac Maniac. So a woman that just is like, a kid, so like somebody working in a shop can't do that. I think I've done a video, Marcus, but what I will do at some point is do a video comparing the Therapy to the GMC 500 to the Radioscan 701, all those kind of ones to show you the thing. But Surviving the Apocalypse has done like a good thing where he goes through loads of Geigers saying what beats what, his opinion at certain price ranges. You can get cars on the rails, almost like Scale Electrics or Scale Electric ripoffs. I've never seen the appeal, in all honesty, of Scale Electric, in the sense that I can get why they're fun for a bit, but apparently there are people that seriously do Scale Electrics, racing, and I'm like, how can you actually do that seriously? You're literally holding a button down, hoping it doesn't fly off the track. All right, Peter. All right, Bob. My rarest gas mask. I've got 2 British old C7 masks, which were a discontinued mask, as in they started making them, then said, "Oh, everybody's going to die anyway. Just recycle them." Yeah, the thing is also, the most you can do with some of them is like speed them up and slow them down, can't you? For like not fly them off the corners. But other than that, it's just like one of those things where you're literally holding down a button, watching something go around a track. Like, it's like with my old Hornby Railway set when I was younger. We actually had space for a Hornby Railway set, which sadly there'd be no space to get the rail set out. But the Hornby Railway set, my favourite thing to do with it was putting Lego people on the track and having the train hit them and derail. That sounds all right. Yeah, just when you get a 3D printed thing, you'll probably need to cover it in something like silicone adhesive, so it actually makes a proper seal, because some 3D printed stuff lets air through. See you, Henry. But yeah, I still think at some point I will, if I'm an adult. Wow, I am an adult, right? Let me rephrase this, right? When I've got my bunker and all that set up, if I get enough land with it, I might literally just build a shed so I can have a model train set in it, like a proper spurg, because I would love to do that. One of my granddad's friends, before he died, my granddad's still alive, but his friend died a few years ago, he had a huge model railway set. He like let me come round and he showed it me once, where he literally, had a garage, and rather than having a car and a garage and tools, it was like, nearly all the garage was a huge table with like a massive railway set on it. Oh, that's very cool, GZ Deuce. I know there are places that have like model railways in them and that, like just as a kind of attraction type thing. They're cool, aren't they? That's cool, Fuzzy. The thing is, model railways are like one of those things where I can get why modern kids wouldn't find them fun at all with video games, but there's something very physical and real to them, isn't there? But yeah, it's just I don't know. I just wish we had space here to have the model railway out, but you just don't. I hadn't got much track for it. It was mostly just like an oval. And I had I know the board. Weirdly, the board for it, where I sleep in the other room, the board where the the big picture was, and glued down to, that you would put the track on. That's behind my bed. I know where the board is for it. Yeah, train computer games are alright, but they're not as good as a real model railway. Oh, TXE Gaming, you've got good taste then, haven't you? Because that's the thing. If you've got one, because that's the thing. The problem is, I think with a railway space set is how much space you need for it. Yeah, Fred Dibner, the Yorkshire Chad, who used to climb up the massive chimneys and talk about trains. That's very creepy. So Radiac Maniac said, one time my mum tried sage. Bad idea. A black spot appeared on the closet door. It was static and had eyes. And the friend who slept over also saw he never came over again. But have you ever gone round somebody's house and there's just a creepy picture on the wall and there's never an explanation for it? Because I've had that a few times, and even sometimes when you ask your friends about it or whatever, or the people in the house, they don't remember where they've got the picture or whatever. Well, Philip, the bunker will have to come first, but yes, I would definitely like to, if I get the bunker, get some sort of building on the surface, or I can have a big model railway in it. Richard said, seen the Tugs cartoon. I'd like an outdoor shipping dock like that for the Tugs as an outdoor feature. No, I've not seen the Tugs cartoon. Is that like Thomas the Tank Engine but with boats or something? But that's one of the reasons I really like Hornby things, because Thomas the Tank Engine, of course. Ringo Starr talking about Thomas went around the track, or however he said it. That's pretty creepy, tactical pirate. But yeah, like I said, that's the sort of thing. We had a weird one when we had our bathroom painted, a few months ago. When the cabinet was taken off the wall, so they could paint behind the cabinet, there was a face drawn on the wall behind the cabinet. Not like a super realistic one. It was like a cartoony one, but none of us said we drew it. And it definitely isn't my style of drawing, so it isn't something like I did it when I was free, and graffitied the wall, and then they put a cabinet over it because they couldn't be bothered to paint over the graffiti. But it's definitely been done though. Why my parents have owned the house. That's the thing, because it was on top of some other layers of paint that they remembered having painted. All right, that's interesting, Rich. I might look at that at some point. No, I've not read that, Thomas. What's that about? Yeah, what I like, I don't know if you've ever seen stuff like this, is what you say about paintings in a bunker. Is which I can't remember if it was either in the book I Am Legend or if it was in the Vincent Price adaptation of it. But isn't there one in that where he has a giant sort of painting of the coast, on the wall of his house, so it's less depressing? Or am I completely imagining that? Snor says he can't remember if you mentioned it before. I don't know if you have. He said, but in the 60s, my mum and 3 friends were in France and stopped at an old battlefield. She said that there was a weird feeling nobody spoke for a while. They left and went to the next town where they stopped and compared how they felt, and all of them had heard the sound of gunfire and shells and screams. Very weird. Yeah, that is strange, isn't it? Like some sort of memory replaying from the battle. That's creepy, Philip. But yeah, you sometimes just get the feeling, don't you, of being watched or something's not right. So it's in the book, is it, Philip? Or in the Vincent Price film, The Last Man on Earth? I can't remember now, but yeah, so I'm not going mad then. That is something that was in there. Oh, that's interesting, Thomas. I've seen like a picture kind of like that, where there's like a really malnourished person with a VR headset off, like in the corner of like a decaying room. So it's the film. So yeah, the Vincent Price one. I'll have to look at some point. Screw in a light bulb on the Belgian L702. What, the gas mask? Or just for the sake of it's the same screw size as a light screw, do you mean? Oh, does that also mean you can screw its filter into a ceiling light for no reason? I just find the idea quite funny of doing that. No, I didn't hear you say that, but that's kind of weird, isn't it? It's just a light bulb fitting in a gas mask, but yeah, everything's going up in price, Joe, unfortunately, unless you get lucky. Ask the taxman, Christopher, because I have to submit all the paperwork to him. This house wouldn't. Yeah, you'd have to know in advance and get the masks on. When I've got a bunker, that would be a different story, because I would definitely install some sort of filtration system into the air vents, but okay, Thomas, I'll try and check that out if I remember at some point. I used to get graphic novels quite a lot from the local library, because before everything went to shit, and this is when I was a lot younger, so this is way even before Corona. But Oxford Central Library used to have like a massive amount of like Judge Dredd graphic novels, all those sort of ones. Which NBC suit has B Store got? Because I've reviewed quite a few things he sent me before, but do you know what model of NBC suit it is? Because it won't let you post a link, unfortunately. Yeah, I sold all my shares off today, Sheep Strangler, because I think the stock market might tank soon, despite the fact it's done not too badly since Corona. So all the shares I bought at the start of Corona, which have gone up in price, I've now sold off. So that'll give me a few grand more towards the bunker. But I'm going all in. I want that bunker. So the problem's going to be, I think once I get the money, then probably none are going to turn up for sale. The one with the Polish gas mask. Let me look up, Sean, quickly, that model of Geiger counter. Yeah, but I don't think I have heard of that one. But I might recognise it. That's pretty cool looking. That's very cool looking, isn't it? Yeah, I've not seen that one before, but that looks cool. There's one on eBay that went for £300. I mean, I probably wouldn't pay that for a Geiger counter right now because I'm saving up for the bunker. But so it's essentially, is it? Yeah, I'm just trying to get a big picture up of it so I can see how it works. Well, it looks good. Did it have an alpha probe on it, or is it just beta and gamma? But I can see there's like a probe with a cap on it, and yeah, that looks cool though. I'm just looking at a photo of it. So the range on it has millirontgen per hour, and it has 0 to 0.5, 0 to 5, 0 to 50, and 0 to 500. So those are the ranges. So it doesn't go up over 500 millirontgen, but it looks like a really nice counter. I do like the look of that. That's cool, isn't it? I'll just link a picture of it for anybody that wants to know what he's talking about. Yeah, I've never seen those before, but I do like the look of that. There you go. Somebody's spamming the chat. Goodbye. I guess there weren't any mods on. Or they weren't checking the chat. But yeah, that guy's been spamming the chat for a bit. I'm not building one, Jack. I'm buying one. Basically, in the UK, there are things called ROC posts. And ROC posts were basically, they made over, I think, 1,500 of them all around the UK in the Cold War. And then, now, because the Cold War's obviously ended, people buy them and sell them now and again, like just the land that they come with as well. But the thing is going to be finding one that has a decent bit of land with it, and that's also not stupidly expensive, and also not flooded to the point you can't restore it. Right, I'm going to try and quickly answer a couple of the comments people said before we go back to spooky stuff. So if it was a Polish NBC suit, The L1 and L2 models are all right, or whatever they're called. They're nothing to write home about, but they're not bad. Yeah, I know, Oliver. If I'd had the money, then I'd have bought it. There was also a field that went with it for 4K, like a proper field. It's like, you know, if I'd have known that at the time, how much was going with it, I'd have gone to my dad. Look, you're going to lend me some money now. But yeah, there's so regarding the NBC suits, the L1 and L2 style suits are all right. They're nothing to write home about. The Fu one though is the really good suit the Poles have. It's basically like a British Mark IV but better. What's an anti-vandal welfare units? Let's have a look. Oh, I see it. So it's like a little cabin thing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, like a porter cabin. I think you could, if you did it properly, bury those. Because I know people in America often bury shipping containers in their gardens to like make basic bunkers from. Right, let me Google that exact one. Right, for the person asking about night vision, I'll try and find your comment and then answer it as best I can. A lot of it's going to depend on budget, I think. I think, yeah, I think that's either the L1 or the L2 suit. Personally, I'd say 68 quid's a bit high for that. If you're looking for a cheap NBC suit, they might have all sold out, but let me just see if I can find you one. Because sometimes the East German ones go really cheap. Yep, right. I found you something for a much cheaper price. Here you go. You are very welcome. It's a very similar type of suit because it's another communist suit, but that's an East German one. The one-piece East German suits. They smell strongly of rubber, but they're pretty much completely watertight because it's like a fabric with rubber set over it. Thank you, Thomas. I won't be spending it on beer at the moment, but I'll put it all towards the bunker, so I appreciate that. You know, I'm having a few days off drinking, I think. So, Gasmaster, that was his question, right? So, and what NVG would you recommend for EU? PVS 7 and PVS 14 possible to get from USA. Let's say I have €600 budget. Right. I think there are a couple of quite good Pulsar models around that price. That's Tyric. That's Danish kroners. It's not $100. I'm very appreciative that Danish kroners aren't worth the same as US dollars or pounds. The best night vision thing I've got. Do you actually want NVGs as in one for both eyes, or just one eye, or one that you can at least have on a helmet? Or do you want like, or do you care about any kind of it? Because do you think like a spotting scope or kind of thing? Yeah, like Flazzy's saying, because there's quite a lot of difference. Because you know, some of the things I might recommend might not be in your interest at all if you wanted a head mounted thing. Well, I've not personally looked into 40k, but if you mean like, do I know of 40k? Yeah, I've got like the rule books and that. Well, a really old rule book actually now. You know, I've got a few of the Warhammer games on PC. I've got some Necrons somewhere and some Space Marines. Some painted, some not painted, some not glued together. But when I've said, have you looked into Warhammer? I just say it jokingly, as in like I've not looked into the warp or something like that. I'll see what Prepper Shop has in. Prepper Shop are good for some things, as in like good priced. They had some really good price filters on Prepper Shop before, as well as the body armor. Right, so NBC suit, yeah. Right, £11 for a British Mark IV. That's good. £11 for a Mark III. That's good. Dutch military NBC suits for 13 quid. That's good. The East German ones on there are only £9.99. They've got US military ones on there as well. That's interesting. But they're out of stock of those. Oh, they're out of stock of the East German ones as well. They're out of stock of the Dutch ones as well. But yes, Prepper Shop prices seem very good on there. Yes, I am from the United Kingdom. How did you guess? Specifically England. One eye for helmet, right? If you want a helmet type one, Pulsar do ones I think better than my basic Pulsar. Does Pulsar have like a catalogue of night vision units? Pulsar night vision. Because basically what I wanted to see is what different Pulsar models there are. Because I'm sure they do better ones than just like the Gen 1 one I've got. Oh, they do like flares now, Pulsar. That's interesting. Night vision devices. Let's get to that bit. Unfortunately, it seems the Challenger is like one of the only like free ones Pulsar do that are like conventional night vision that you want. One of them's digital, so it's not really classic night vision. What about the Edge? Is that does it say what generation it is? Oh, they're Gen 1, so it's going to be very similar to the Challenger. So no, rule out Pulsar for head-mounted stuff then, if you're spending that sort of money. My only yes, off and on TBs. We haven't got like a national lockdown, but they really ought to do one at the moment because they're doing like local lockdowns that are just completely not working. All right, cheers for the shout out, Flazzy. So Scott Country International do them apparently for the person asking, but yeah. Your other bet, if you want something more unique, is just go on eBay and see if any maybe Russian ones turn up, head-mounted ones, or just ones from different European countries that are like ex-military models. Yeah, a lot of it, Peter's not been spooky though, has it? We were talking about spooky stuff, and then it always derails into surplus discussion. The Germans had pretty advanced gas masks in World War One. Because didn't they even have ones where the filters screwed in and off? But I don't actually know too much about World War One masks, in all honesty. Crispy with extra butter says, "My boy Alex can't make it here tonight, so I'm raising a chalice about chalice of Belgian beer on his behalf in your honour. Thank you." Let me look up a Lyron Mark 6. Because I don't know what that is. I know what a Mark 6 helmet is, but what's a Lyron Mark 6? I don't think much is coming up when I Google it. No, a Lyron Mark 6 is not coming up with anything but tyres for a car. I'm sure you're not asking about car tyres. Did you hear the one earlier, Oscar Fox, about the weird thing that happened when I was a kid with like the footsteps behind me? Oh, there was a creepy thing I can't remember if I've mentioned before, but in some woods near me, I went there and there was like a bird skeleton that had been stuffed into a tree. Like some people have done weird things with sticks, I'm sure it's probably that some people found a dead bird, they stuffed the body there because it was, though it's funny or something, and then just put some sticks there to do some Blair Witch LARPing or something, but it's just kind of a bit weird when you're walking in the woods on your own and you find something like that. Sadly, I don't get all that much US surplus, Joe, because a lot of US surplus is either ITAR protected or the shipping is just really expensive from the, stuff like that. What's a Gansfeld effect stream? I want to read this. Oh, Mark 6 helmets, do you mean, Joe Mama? Weren't they made by NP Aerospace? Let's see what the Gansfeld effect is. So, the Gansfeld effect, or perceptual deprivation, I've heard of perceptual deprivation, is a phenomenon of perception caused by exposure to unstructured uniform stimulation field. The effect is the result of the brain amplifying neural noise in order to look for missing visual signals. Ah, cool. So in some ways, is it a bit like a Charles Bonnet syndrome thing you can induce? Because Charles Bonnet syndrome is quite creepy, where people start seeing things that aren't there, not because they're going crazy, but because their eyesight's going. So the brain starts kind of inventing images that it thinks should be in the frame when, you know, they're not meant to be there. So somebody will randomly like walk into their house and then they'll see a random man like in a clown suit or something standing in their room. That's all right. Wizards, witches, magicians, all that's related to spooky stuff, I guess. Yeah, XX Arctic Snobber. Airsofting gets brought up a lot. The simple reason I don't do airsofting regularly is simply the nearest site to me, although it's quite a good site, isn't that close. So it's quite a long drive, and they don't do airsoft games very often. At the moment, Corona, I don't know if they do them at all. But the problem is, you know, that to go airsofting there, I'd have to book a day off work and know that, you know, my mates are going to be able to make it, and it's not going to get cancelled because of bad weather and all that. Airsofting is something I'd definitely do if there was a site closer to me, you know, that did games more often. Okay, I've seen that done before, Visa, where people have. I watched a TV thing about that. I think weirdly it was filmed in a bunker. I'm gonna have to find out what this was now because I'm interested in which bunker it was filmed in. But they did two that. They did like what you're saying, where they played like static over like headphones, you know, and had people essentially staring at. I think they did it with like a white, you know, sort of cloth over their eyes, but it was the same sort of thing, you know. And they had those people, and they were saying like what they were experiencing, and they also had people that we know essentially being put in solitary confinement in the pitch black. You know, and all of them were tripping balls basically by the end of it. The people who didn't demand to be let out before, you know, the thing had run its course, because, you know, obviously the people in the dark started seeing things that weren't there because there was no brain stimulation going on, so the brain just started inventing things. And the people obviously being blasted with static and they were having a horrible time. Ask Creepy Scott, doesn't something like that happen in Jacob's Ladder, the film Jacob's Ladder? Yeah, I could totally imagine that. Like you're walking on the street and then it looks like a weird morphed face. Yeah, Russian from that's the issue, isn't it? Like with them at the moment, I don't even know if my local one. When I say local, it's not that local, but you know, I don't know if they're even doing airsoft at the moment because of Corona and paintballing. But you know, it's one of those things where I'd happily do it if there was a site, you know, more convenient for me to do it at. But it's a shame because I actually do like the site. You know, they've got a load of good, you know, like old buildings there, you know, stuff they've built. So there's quite a few different scenario type things they can do. You know, there are some bits that are just standard woodland skirmishing, but they've got like kill house type things built there as well. But it's just, you know, it's not practical. Have you seen Eraserhead, Arctic Sniper? In heaven, everything is fine. Yeah, so it's a bit like tripping acid or something, VC. Yeah. Sounds interesting though. Right, Gash Coblin, I couldn't see your comment before, but we were talking about creepy stuff and just surplus in general because that always comes up. If somebody has glasses, Christopher, you can get optical inserts for your mask in your prescription that are basically fitted into the mask. I must have missed the comment. He said, there is this Russian dude who climbed into a Soviet bunker, which is full of GB5s and guide counters. Yeah, I've seen is it the Shire video, whatever the channel's called, where there's like all these DP5s just in rows and like all these GP5s, and there's like loads of crates, and they're like, what's in the crate? He's like, oh, probably gas mask, you know. Because red lenses look cool on the S10. I think they're for a night purpose. But no, I've not, but sadly I'm not in the northeast. But again, when I get an ROC bunker, if I'm in a different part of the country and there's an airsoft site nearby, I'll probably do it, you know. You have to take your glasses off to wear a gas mask, yes, but you can get optical inserts for various masks. What, like react to spooky videos? But if I'm reacting to spooky videos, I can't read the comments, can I? But I suppose that's an idea, but I like listening to like creepypastas quite a lot. Yeah, I've got tinted ones for my FM12 or CT12. Yeah, I've got tinted ones for that one. I don't understand why air would be hard. If you like torches and you want to get an alright torch, they're fine. Just put one of the Maglite upgrade bulbs in them so they're actually bright. But you know, they're cool torches, and I like the fact that you can put filters on them really easily. Yeah, or if the air takes Viagra Joe, then the air would be hard. Yeah. No, it's not a replica one. It's one of the old ones that was just in storage because you can buy the old stored lot of them quite easily. It's Fulton, apparently. But yeah, I bought an extra filter kit for it and some spare parts from a British equivalent. Turn that light on so you can see. Right, tomorrow, Elaine, but I'm going to have to film it in the rain in a minute because I wanted to film it yesterday, and then I don't know if you heard, but every time I went to film it, somebody was out and about, on one of the drives nearby, talking loudly or whatever. And then when I went to film it earlier today, it was raining, so I'm just going to get a torch like this one, go out there and just film it in the dark. And you'll still see the boot because obviously the camera is going to pick up with a flashlight. Oh. It's probably not even going to focus, is it? Yeah, that was the British one. Because this one says made in England, has a serial number, CPG or GPG or something, filter container. So yeah, that's from a British produced one. The plastic, I'll be honest, on the British one feels a bit more fragile than the plastic on the American one. I know you can get metal ones as well. I think a metal one would be quite good to get at some point if I saw one for not too much money. Because, just because it's like a Maglite, it's quite tough. About half of it. There's a thing, Flazzy, that Nick Abbott does every time people go on about the weather, and he goes, "Let me check if it's raining in it's either Glasgow or Edinburgh. I can't remember which one he said he was doing, but he does the thing of oh, it's raining, or if it's not raining, he goes, or that's unusual, or something like that." They think it's cool and always mess about my stuff. I have to be careful with some of my friends because they're prone to breaking stuff by accident. So you don't let them play with the really cool stuff because then they end up breaking them. But yeah, they think it's cool, and a load of them are very eager for me to get an ROC bunker. So if they're having trouble at home or whatever, they can live in it for a little bit. Because nobody at my age I know, apart from maybe 2 people, actually own any property. Quite a few rent, and everybody else just lives with their parents just because of how stupidly expensive house prices are down here. Yeah, Richard, do you think they should find a way of turning that into some sort of energy if it travels faster than the speed of light? Isn't there, Alex, a quote like that in Mountain Blade in Warband, something like "It's harvest season" or something, like when you randomly encounter the peasants? So Loserlot says this concludes my TED talk, but I didn't see him make any comments. Yeah, that's a good price, Banzai, you got that for. But right. If you type in NATO flashlight on eBay, you might find them. Let me have a quick look for you. I'll stream for another 5 or 10 minutes. Are you on Twitch later tonight, Mike? Right, if I type NATO flashlight in, right, type NATO flashlight in and a few come up. There's the one I got that was $22.95. Yeah, so this was $22.95. The filter packs on their own are a few quid. Oh, actually, I've spotted one that might be in. Oh, it's $21 postage. So yeah, ignore that one. All the ones turning up though when I type in NATO flashlight, I don't think there's any metal ones turning up at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, if you search right angle torch, I found one that's only $5.99, but I bet that might be like a replica one. Right, this one, I don't know if it's genuine or not, but I'll link you to it just because it's cheap. I've already said I'm in the UK. Have you ever seen any of the weird Finger Family videos, Shed on Fire? It's a parody of those, sort of. Those creepy kind of, like, maybe videos made in India. Nobody really knows. Do they do any which is LED and takes a single AA battery? Because obviously I've got an LED in this one, but that's just because I replaced the bulb. But in terms of batteries, it still takes 2 D cells. But yeah, as you can maybe see there, I have put a Maglite bulb in it, the Cree LED Maglite upgrades, and it's bright. Oh, what? So it's actually like a scaled down one. Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, I thought you meant like they did one. Yeah, I get you now. Oh, that's a replica one, is it, WTO? It's just right. If you want a genuine one, then let me find a seller that's got these in stock, the actual Fulton ones. And I know the seller that was selling the Fulton ones was genuine stuff because a lot of it came in like the old kind of NATO number sort of packaging, with all like the bits of like papery bits on. But yes, the seller I bought this one from, and it was definitely a genuine one. Weirdly, it's got what? Was this the same seller? Hang on a second. Yeah, it does say this one's a Fulton one. So Fulton's apparently the one that did them for the US Army back in the day. Let me just link to this one just so you know what I'm on about. But the gas masks don't smell, funnily enough. One of my NBC suits really smells, so I store it out in the garden. I've got a Balisong trainer somewhere, Alexei. All right, person whose name I'm going to have no hope of pronouncing, but hello. I've got a PS3. I might get a PS5 when they come out if I've got spare money and don't know what to get. But I mostly game on the PC because I've got a PC where I can edit videos of it fairly quickly and render them, so plays games fine. But I have nothing against consoles. I just now and again I'm in the mood to, I just find PCs are handy because you can do everything on them. I don't know if they'll cancel Halloween. I suppose if you did a socially distanced Halloween, it'd be all right. But yeah, I'd be a bit wary about people giving you sweets if they've got germs on them. I suppose in that thing. There's a toilet in an ROC post, which is a separate room. There's like a cupboard toilet room in them. So there's ladder room, toilet room, and living room. That's it. They're small, but they're way more affordable than a flat. So there you go. Ah, cool. Pipe smoking is enjoyable, but not that I encourage people to smoke. Yeah, that's the design of all of them, isn't it, Flazzy? The room with the ladder in, that's just like kind of, literally a ladder room. That's all it is. Toilet room and the main room. Now, kids could wear masks, couldn't they, for Corona? I suppose they could wear. So a company should do Halloween masks that offer filtration abilities. Yeah, I've still got the pipes, but like I just don't smoke them anymore. I won't read that out, Shed on Fire, in case it sounds like I'm encouraging it, but that's a great comment. Yeah, exactly, Ultimatum. I'd be more worried about that as well than germs, in all honesty. But thankfully, I've never, as a kid, when I went trick or treating a few times, I never had anybody put razors or poisons in sweets. Some people even gave you money on Halloween. That was brilliant. Well, you're not going to have problems with your neighbours, are you, in an ROC bunker, Alex Saint? That's one good thing about them. And I was talking to this about my granddad today because my granddad wants to have some of the windows replaced in his house, but it's really expensive. I didn't realize it was like 6-7 grand for like double glazed windows, of a decent size for like a living room type thing. And I said, well, at least in a bunker, I wouldn't ever have to pay to replace windows. Throw it on that person's house, Fuzzy. Not that I'd encourage you to do that, but you know. Oh, but you might have people chasing after you then, Tyrek, and then they, might rip you apart because they want that toilet paper when it's in short supply. The only Romanian mask I've got is the M85, I think, or M84, whatever it's called. There's the M75 or M74 as well, isn't there? I don't have many Romanian masks. I only have one. Yeah, it's the windows that obviously keep in a lot of heat, and all that. But it's just I thought that was insane. Like, I thought I didn't even think about this. But I thought like, oh, pane of glass, that'll be a couple £100, £1,000 at most. No, like 6-7 grand now. Lots of windows if they're the decent size ones. But yeah, handing out toilet paper on Halloween might be popular if there's another like lockdown again. Yep, exactly, Alexei. That's something we've discussed before. Yeah. Oh, I get you now, VC. Yeah, you actually want people to toilet paper your house now because of the demand of toilet paper. It depends where he goes, Richard, because in a lot of places they're not going to be obeying the social distancing, are they? Yeah, the US has some very big bunkers over there, and lots of people like buy old missile silos and that and convert them into stuff. Right, I'd say about halfway, Alex Saint. I won't say exactly how much I've got put towards it. I'd say about halfway to one that's priced at a reasonable amount. I'm not going to get one in this house, Fuzzy, just because I've gone over it quite a few times before. But yeah, if I get somewhere of land, I'd apply for one maybe then. But I'm definitely not applying here. I can definitely get your point of why you'd want to do it sooner rather than later, but I don't want one, in this house. Oh, cool. A builder randomly gave you a gas mask. That's strange. I don't actually know, Ultimatum. If you're doing it in your garden, it depends on planning permission, doesn't it? And then it also depends if you were found out. Because there's like that Dryden bloke, wasn't there, who built his own house and it only became a problem, resulting in somebody getting shot when they said they were going to tear his house down. Who stops you converting them to living space, Lisa, though? That's the question. Like, who is honestly going to go in there to check if somebody's living in it? I mean, I could understand if it was being rented out, they wouldn't let you do it. But I can't understand how they would stop somebody, living in a property they've essentially bought. Yeah, the guy with the Webley peach. That's the one. There's a Dankula video on him, isn't there? The Mad Lad one. Well, Colby, unfortunately, I'll be going off in about a minute, and I've told some stories. But if you watch Weapon Collector's Halloween video, when that's on, there'll be one of my ghost stories on there, or at least a very weird encounter. Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it, Fuzzy? That's the thing, yeah. So you have to build it, and then you have to keep it hidden for a couple of years, and then it's all right. The problem is you'd have to know that the toxins are coming, wouldn't you, and get your mask on in time. Well, there's no real reason to drop them from planes anymore, Alex saying, because just the missiles are so accurate now and so long range, it doesn't matter. But originally, you had to drop them from planes. How did he get caught? Imagine that. It's like a gamble, isn't it? You're literally 2 days away from or something getting it, and then boom, somebody finds it. Yeah, imagine some twat with a drone literally reports it because, or shares it, and then it goes viral, and then you get caught because, I'm opposed to somebody having a castle. I think I've seen it, Iron Man, that one. Is that about like the people in the car for a lot of it? If so, I've seen that one. Yeah, it's a plasma ball, but it's not turned on. Well, my favourite genre of games. I don't actually know. My favourite game ever is Oddworld Abe's Exodus, but platform games in general aren't my favourite genre of game. Well, just do Ninjago like what they did with the old Rotor bunkers, build a fake house on top of it. The thing I like with plasma balls is that you can overload Geiger counters on them really easily. Yeah, the thing is Shed on Fire, I can understand it if it's like somebody wants to build a giant massive thing in their garden that would like overshadow your garden. I could get that to a degree, right? That I can understand to a degree, because again, I still think people should have the right to build it, but you know what I mean? Like if somebody wanted to build like a 5-story thing, to block all the way out your garden, I could get that. But yeah, when people are literally objecting, oh, somebody has a field and I'm opposed to the fact they've built something on it. They trick Geiger counters, Colby. The high voltage tricks them. It's hard to explain, but you can use them to stress test Geiger counters because they generally like cause the Geigers to max out. They can harm technology, yeah, because they can overvolt them. I've not had any Geigers break on it, but I get Geigers to get insanely high readings on it, if that makes sense. But I imagine, yeah, they could. I certainly think they could break some electronics. Oh, piss yourself laughing, do you mean? As in, they should survive at least for 17 seconds, whatever it is, then. I don't have an actual Elder Scroll. I've got Morrowind. I've got actually, I think, Arena and Daggerfall on CD-ROM somewhere. But yeah, I have got Morrowind. I have got Oblivion. I've got Skyrim, and I've got the Elder Scrolls Online. People already partying in Corona still here. I don't really know too much about them, Alex, because I know there's a lot of like made up stuff with EMPs, isn't there? Like Hollywood's dramatized, but I wouldn't be really a good person to talk about EMPs, so I don't know too much about them. Yeah, and then you can knock him off the mountain, can't you, Flazza? You could kill him in the most hilarious ways. Well, the ones I take out and about with me are normally things like the Strong M50 and the 3M style ones. How recently was this, Elaine? Was this like a World War II one that blew up, or what? Like that was dropped and then it was stuck there for ages and then went off, or what? I imagine though, in an ROC post, any electronics underground there would be pretty EMP safe, wouldn't they? I suppose it depends how you're running the electricity off of them, though, because if you have an above ground generator that they're running off of, then they could still get surged, couldn't they? But yeah, I'll be off now. I don't know if Mike said he was on Twitch or not. So, but yeah, right. And see you all. That's a Nixie tube clock or a cold cathode display tube clock, whatever the technical name is. Oh, he's not on tonight, is he? Yeah, that'd be good, Richard, if you could get a job singing. Because obviously, if so many people have left the profession because of how fucked it's been recently, you might be able to get a shoe in there. Yeah. Right. See you all. Have a good day. It's been a good fun stream, even if half of it wasn't talking about creepy stuff. Which one? Which one are you looking at? There's 2 PTM1 Soviet masks, Soviet GP4, Soviet PDFD. But yes, amazing vids. It was meant to be a spooky stream where we were talking about ghost stories and stuff, but then half of it was just talking about random shit anyway. Right, thanks everybody. I'll do a members stream tomorrow for anybody that's a member. So see you probably tomorrow evening for a members one. Member stream tomorrow, Joe. Right, see ya. Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen. Farewell. Blah, 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 blah.